Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Productions channel here at YouTube, and welcome to another Friday review. Today I am here to give my thoughts on Forced to Worship, the newest second album from what Steve Zetro Souza likes to call him, the future of Bay Area metal, Phantom Witch. Released on June 4th via independently. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, before I get into giving my thoughts on Forced to Worship, you know what I have to do. I have to do a track list rundown so I can tell you folks what are the songs that are on this album, how many tracks that are on this album, and what is the time length for this album. Since this album consists a total of 11 tracks, it clocks in at the length of 50 minutes and 41 seconds. So these 11 tracks are beginning with the very short 1 minute and 5 second instrumental Soldier's Sorrow, then into the actual first song of the album, Crusader, Day of Reckoning, Something Evil Approaches, Borderline, Psychogenic Death, All Hail the Coven, Wrath, the title track, The Guillotine, and then finally ending with a cover of Age's Black Mass. So there you go, folks. There's your 11 tracks. You know what that sound is, folks? That is the sound of the notes that I'm about to read off from, or read off of, or whatever. Okay. 4 years ago saw the release of their debut album, Death As We Know It. Now 4 years later, we now get the follow-up, which had been in the works since 2020, Forced to Worship. While the lineup is as mostly stayed the same, except for the guitar player Eric Yakums Hernandez, who joined the band after the release of their debut full-length in 2019, with this new album being his first and, surprisingly, last. You can now find him in a band called Pyrotanic. What hasn't changed is the music, which is still full-throttle, neck-snapping thrash metal. Though, I have to say, maybe more tighter and stronger in its presence. It's also more aggressive here than what was felt on the debut album. Zach Cox's vocal delivery here comes across as being fierce, sort of reminding me of Steve Reynolds of Demolition Hammer. But the music has that melodic and slight technical quality that you'd find in Forbidden, Law's Rocket, Death Angel, and Testament. Even the recording and production is more punchy, not as tiny sounding as it did on the debut, so that's another plus. As for the songs themselves, from the rather short instrumental Soldier's Sorrow, we are then treated with the first face ripper, Crusader, and from there on, like I pointed out, just a barrage of bone-crushing, neck-snapping thrash metal. There are plenty of solid cuts here, but the ones that stick out are Crusader, Something Evil Approaches, which has some slight power metal undertones to it, but for the most part is still a monstrous thrasher. This one has Ex Mortis member Jadron Conan Gonzalez, hope I pronounced all that correctly, which explains the more vibrant guitar playing here, if you're at least familiar with Ex Mortis. Day of Reckoning also crushes, with even it containing some great bass playing from Mateo Ramos. And then there is Psychogenic Death, which slays. Then the epic All Hail the Coven, which would fit greatly on someone's Halloween metal playlist. The title track, which has a nice pace to it, balancing out the blunt force attacks of the previous songs. I also really dig the Guillotine, which is the shortest song on the album, practically clocking in at 1 minute and 29 seconds, not counting, of course, the opening instrumental track, Soldier's Sorrow. Damn it, can't speak today. This one is just a rapid burst of destruction. But the album doesn't entirely end there. Exclusive to the CD pressing for the album is an inclusion of a song called Black Mass, which is a cover of a Age song, a band that my friend Dave McCarter used to be in. They only ever put out one album before calling it quits. As far as the cover goes, great cover, classic heavy metal with, of course, that Phantom Witch style of thrash added to it. And to me, ends the album perfectly. I don't think I can ever listen to this album without the cover song, which that is a rarity if you know what I mean. So there you go, folks. There's my overall thoughts on Forced to Worship, and my rating, I'm just going to give it a 9 out of 10. I thought this was a really solid album. Again, I actually enjoy this one more than the debut, and I thought the debut was fine in itself, but I think they somehow perfected a little bit more. You know, they're kind of edging out more of their sound, and it just seems to be getting more tighter and tighter, and I could just definitely tell that if they, from more albums, that they put out, it's going to keep continuing to get tighter, and they're definitely going to expand on their writing, and I think that's really going to be a very good thing. So, again, this is still a very good album, and this is still a band for you all to look out for, and hopefully you at least can support Phantom Witch, and I'm going to do my best, and I do my best, to leave you a link to, of course, their Bandcamp page, so you can support Phantom Witch and this album. And if you probably have, let's say, listened to this album, if you have any thoughts, whether they are positive or negative, you can leave them in the comment section below. But if you haven't, again, you know where to look. So there it is. There you all go. This is Heavy Thrash saying I'm out. And I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.